Hey everyone, Matt here with Doogs Models, and welcome back to the ongoing adventures of the Kitty Hawk Su-17 build review. Now, last night we got the landing gear installed, we got the wing fences put on, and the control surfaces on the wings. Tonight I'm hoping to pretty much wrap this sucker up. What we have left is a bunch of little detail pieces, flare dispensers along the fuselage spine, speed brakes, horizontal stabilizers, pylons, a weapon or two. I'm not gonna build all the weapons because there are like a billion of them in this damn kit. Pitot tubes, that kind of stuff. So hoping I can get through that pretty quickly because I've got an exciting project sitting literally in the wings. On the Scale Modelers Critique group, probably in about 2 hours or so here, we are kicking off a 45-day group build, and the goal of the build is to essentially build quickly but build with intention and kind of break out of the situation where kits take 4, 5, 6 months to finish. Try to break out of that sort of long, slow grind that a lot of us seem to get into at certain points in our modeling journey. And my original intention was a 1/48 scale to me at F117. Figure get it together fast, then really focus on the painting. How do you black base black, essentially? And how do you weather black, and having fun with that aspect of it. Well, I looked around and you cannot get your hands on any aftermarket decals for a 1/48 F117. So, in a fit of pique, I decided, fuck it, I'm going to just take that ambition and make it even bigger. And I am going to be building, I literally have to get up, get it, Trumpeter's 1/32nd scale F117. It will be a slog to get that done in the 45 days that are allotted for the group build. So the sooner I can get the Su-17 off the bench, reviewed, finished, done, the sooner I can start on that fucker. So with that, let's get back into the Su-17 and see if we can finish it off. Okay, so where do we begin on finishing out the upper portions of the Su-17? Well, I'm going to jump back to step 11, where we've got flare dispensers, we've got canopy, stuff for the dorsal spine, speed brakes, various pitot tubes, and other fun doohickeys. Woohoo! And then we're going to flip over to the underside and knock those out. So first up, just because I have the pieces kind of sitting ready to go, I'm going to knock out the canopy. So how are we going to get that done? Well, we've got the canopy right here. And I will note, for those of you who are into such things, if you want to put the canopy on this thing and have it closed, considering how many of these aircraft are now derelicts with interesting weathering possibilities, closed is actually a pretty compelling option. I won't say the fit is perfect. It's a little bit proud of the windscreen, but it is definitely within tolerance. And I think with a little bit of close, careful sanding, particularly of the bottom, so you can see how rickety this damn thing is, particularly where it meets the cockpit cell, sanding that down just a little bit would probably get you a nice flush closed canopy. But we're not doing that. We are doing an open canopy. So for that, we've got this joyous piece. Literally like that. And this whole back piece here is going to be solid, so it is one of those, feel free to use the glorious Tamiya extra thin, and of course knock it out of position like a doofus. Okay, next we're going to install this little E39 piece right here. This is what is going to hold up the canopy. Okay, so I'm moving on while the canopy sets up, and I'm going to start installing some of these little antenna bullshits along the side of the fuselage. So as you can see here, we've got D98, this little spade looking thing here with the disc. Drops into that hole. Everybody's happy. Now, I faced a lot of these on the Tamiya F14, and they were simple. Just drop in, you know, no big deal. Well, this is another one of those places where I just wonder what the fuck Kitty Hawk was thinking. Because this end piece here is not in any way, shape, or form round. I mean, it's like a weird Tetris piece. I legitimately do not understand what they're thinking here. I mean, there's this piece here that's kind of round, but they would have it sticking at the completely wrong angle. You know, it's supposed to be sticking out like this, essentially. And that piece is in no way round at all, not even anywhere close to round. So, what the fuck? Just what the fuck? So I'm going to use some good old Loctite Ultra Gel, shove it in here, cut this piece off, shove it on there, and just say fuck it to the whole thing. So first of all, grab my sprue cutters, grab this piece of shit, cut it. I guess I'm holding this because it's stuck to this thing now. Squeeze a little bit of super glue out onto a trusty plate of glass. Back it into that hole. Come on. You know, I think that's even sitting wrong. Yeah, it's not even the right shape. For God. Let's get a little bit more super glue on there. Yeah. See, if you look here, it's supposed to connect and sort of slope down towards the front right there like that. This piece doesn't do that in any way, shape, or form. All right, I am getting impatient. And when I get impatient, I do stupid things. Like use accelerator. See, I do stupid things. All right, there we go. Voila. Not perfect, but, you know, that's what they've given us to work with. Again, fucking why. All right, next we've got D89. This little bullet piece that goes right up here next to the canopy. That one should be fairly easy. The biggest problem that we've got with this one is that it's just a tiny piece that we have to deal with the sprue right next to, you can kind of see it there, it's a bit blurry. The mounting hole is right next to the sprue gate, of course. Now, I've got it cleared off here, but I don't even try to hold this damn thing to get that off. This is a good opportunity to jab myself with the micro chisel. Like, if I hold it with tweezers, it will go flying. But I literally do not know what else to do. So let's see if we can maybe get the thin end of this sanding stick to do us a favor here. See, what did I say? Part goes flying. Okay, so D89 is not going on. Jesus Christ. Next, D106, another little bullshit piece. Thankfully, I think this one isn't going to give us too much trouble because there's a little bit more of a place to hold it. If we can hold it, we can glue it. So this one goes right, shut up compressor, here. Oh. Yeah. So you can see it's going right to this little point right here. Yay. Sanding up the sprue gates because they go in stupid places. All right. So hey, that piece actually fits. Let's lock that down. Okay, so next up we've got the flare packs, which as you can see here, they've got photo etch to go along the sides. This photo etch is this stuff here, which, sorry, for a builder view, I'm not doing that. That looks like way too much of just a tedious pain in the ass. So we can just assume that it will be there. And then we've got D118 on the aft side here, which I think there might have been instructions to make a hole there at some point. I didn't see it or didn't pay attention to it. So that's on me fortunately, we have ways of attaching things without needing that. So first up, let's do D56. Jesus, people. Who thought, hey, this will be fun. Let's put these everywhere and let's make this plastic kind that can somehow be soft except where the sprue gate goes. You're too lazy to make bigger holes. That's a Zacto. Now for this damn thing, we're gonna bust out the MEK because I just want to burn through whatever the hell might be holding this thing back. So yeah, get off there, 118. Come through with the extra thin. Son of a bitch. This one is totally on me because I'm being sloppy and lazy. But hey, there is a flare pack installed. Another one that has to go in the back. Oh, and check this out. Tail setter. Kitty Hawk does not tell you to add weight. I would think that it would be obvious choice if you were building it for real. Fortunately, the way that it's engineered, it's one of those things that's just not super easy to test. Goes back here. Like so. And again, these, if you were building this for real, would have photo etch on either side that would help hide the holes here, provide a stronger mounting surface, a little bit more detail, or you could just be, shut up compressor, you could just be more of an aftermarket hound and get the quick boost set. These stand a lot prouder than I would like. And I'm assuming that is something that the photo would help to alleviate, but still not entirely. No. Voila. Excitemonte. Okay, so here's another fun way that Kitty Hawk can completely fuck you over. See this big gaping hole right here? It's not addressed in the instructions at all. The first time this dorsal segment, which is the forward dorsal segment, shows up, it shows up right here on step 10 as A4 and A5. Nothing else happening in here. This piece is already, it's this area, this piece is already in place, apparently. And then it gets glued as a unit to the fuselage. Now, when you fast forward past all the bomb painting instructions and shit, you know, again, there is no mention of it anywhere in here at all. There does happen to be a part on the A sprue, however, that fits into this. And it is this part, which, hilariously enough, looks very much like it was designed to fit inside, pointing out. So, thanks for that, Kitty Hawk. I'm going to see if I can make this thing fit. I have no idea if that's even a possibility. Feel inside here. So that's the other benefit of this is this thing has, sorry, this piece has this mounting tab, right? If you run the toothpick inside here, it is smooth. There is no place for this thing to mount. And then thinking, like, how would this possibly install, right? Like, seriously? All right, we're gonna give it a shot. I will probably want to end up throwing this kit in the trash. Anyway, this reminds me in a lot of ways of what Italeri did with their F-104, where it has some really strong elements to it. But when you get to the finish out, they completely shit the bed with just some really poor choices. It very much reminds me of what's going on right here. Like, that looks like complete ass. But there you go. Why? All right, moving on to the underside. Let's hope that the finishing details here are less of a clusterfuck than they are up top. So we've got D8, D82, C12. All these tiny little fucking pieces. All right, let's start with D8. Now, there's a circular hole here, so I'm going to hope that there's a circular hole or a circular peg on the corresponding part. And it looks like, holy shit, there actually is. Of course, it seats just loosely enough that you have to glue it. And come back and knock it into place. Not too bad, though. Okay, next we've got D82 and C12. So D82, you're up next. So one of those where you have to hold it in your hand, clip it so you don't lose the piece. And voila. Dollop of glue right in here so we can drop this sucker in. And next we've got a C12. We haven't touched C in a while. So this guy being a little tiny bastard makes me think this should be a bigger hole here. It's like half of it's missing. All right. Now we've got GP3 and GP4. So we're dealing with clear pieces here. I'm going to go ahead and go with a little bit of gator grip extra thin. So I got that one there. On the other side of the aisle. Voila. All right, D76. Now, before we flip it back around and do the speed brakes and the stabilizers and shit, let's go ahead and get the pylons placed. These also, as you can see here, have these little PE pieces. I'm not doing those either. Again, the PE bending, everybody knows how PE works. I don't want to, so I'm not going to. So let's instead just install some shit, right? Okay, so we've got D84 and 85 look like they are the outer ones here that connect to the wing fences. So that's a good place to start. Now these have some interesting little contours going on with the mold seam there, so do a little bit of cleanup. I can't see shit from this angle, so spin this guy like this. Please don't fall off. It can go fuck itself. Okay, so now let's look at how the pylons fit. This one is kind of a tricky one because it's got the wing fence here that it needs to hook to. Now, this is a problem. Because if we come back here, you can see it's sort of sitting proud in the back here. So if we were to tamp that down, the whole front end lifts off, and it's just really, really, really far off from where it needs to be. Like, not even close. And I'm honestly not sure, aside from bending this damn thing, how to close that gap. I mean, because that's a shape issue. That's not a there's flash in the way or anything like that. Like you can see right here, it fits perfectly along this axis, and then it comes here and it just kind of. So if we were to hold that and then try to force this down, it doesn't really want to do it. And we can try. Meantime, I'm going to do a little bit of extra flash trimming here. Fuck off. So I've switched around the view to get a better look at this pylon fiasco that's going on here. And as you can see, the back end is sticking way up, and the front end is riding proud and not even touching the wing fence here. Now, possible to push this down here so it sits nice and flush along the back, but then the entire front raises up. But if I push it down here, it doesn't have the width, it doesn't have the ability to even join that wing fence if it wants to, and then the back end is just way up in the air. Now if I push it all down, it still doesn't quite work. And it makes that center section bulge up. So I'm just going to call this straight up bullshit. Kitty Hawk, you failed on this one pretty badly, in my opinion. But let's do what we can do, right? So out comes the MEK. It's dicey here. But I'm going to prioritize getting it along the backside there first. Gonna let that set up. And I'm gonna move on to some of these other pylons that we have to do, and then we're gonna try to glue that fucker in. Okay, so next I'm looking at doing this one over here, which is so helpfully marked out D73 here, D72 opposite. So I cut out D72, which is supposed to go over here, right? But it doesn't because the curvature is just all wrong. D72 is supposed to go over here, so thanks a lot, fucktards, for getting the opposites mixed up over and over again. And of course, the holes are too big, or the holes are too small. Mounting posts are too big. So when that happens, do some enlarging, and we'll see how this goes. So what do you know, that actually kind of fits there. Now we have this extra fun thing to figure out. Okay. So we've got this piece that's supposed to slot down onto it. This piece has a line coming up here, which would point to something. But the only thing up here is the D84, D85 wing fence pylons. There's nothing to indicate what the hell this is at all. So, time to go hunting, I guess, and find out what it is. There's nothing on any of the main parts trees that comes close to resembling that. So maybe it's something hiding on the weapon sprues. Not that one. Yeah, I'm literally seeing nothing that is supposed to correspond to. At all. Fucking come on. D73 actually does fit in. So say hello to the extra thin. I still have no idea what the hell fits onto these. It's a mystery. So I'm going to pause here and just yell at this thing for a while. Okay, the next inboard pylons, D80 and D81. Check this shit out. They sit proud up here because there is a giant fucking bar right there. Why is that there? So I got a little bit ahead of myself here in terms of getting some work done and forgot to turn the camera back on. But I've basically gotten to a fuck it point with the pylons. So underneath here we've got the pylons, we've got a whole bunch of them, starting with the wing fence pylons out here, and then the next inboard, and then these two little fuckers that don't really have locating tabs. They just kind of, there's little depressions they kind of maybe sort of mount into, but not really all that well. And then this big old pod that I decided to attach just for shits and giggles. Now, I never did find the piece that's supposed to go on top of here. And with the wing fence ones, I just said, fuck it. Just got sick of dealing with the underside here because it is a disaster. This is the wing fence pylon basically welded in with super glue. Good old cyanoacrylate and accelerator. And it is a complete and total debacle. Back here it fits nicely. it just doesn't fit down over the contour of the wing at all. And as you can see in the contour here, the pylon itself is actually bent because I forced it down to connect with the wing fence, kind of. It's still a nasty, nasty cleanup job involved. So, thanks for nothing, Kitty Hawk. Now on this side, the same holds true. You can see that nice little gap in the wing fence. You know, the very precarious nature of the pylon gluing. Yeah, that is what it is. On the speed brakes, and I will say the speed brakes did actually glue in without too much effort, except for this one right here, which popped off and went flying under a cabinet. So, you know, if this was a kit I was working on for real, I would move the cabinet, find the damn piece. But it's not, and we already have 1, 2, 3 other speed brakes in place to see pretty much how they work. So, use your imagination. There would be a 4th one there. Now, we are so damn close to being done. We still have to glue in these little plates here, vent plates. I know they have some technical name. I'm not too concerned about it right now. The Pitot tube extravaganza up front. And in the back, we've got the holes here for the stabilizers. And after that, we will be done and ready to put the canopy on. So let's do some gluing. Now this is one where you would think these 4 plates would all be identical, but we have not 1 or 2, but 4 distinct pieces. All right. So let's go back in time. All right, we've got E6 and E7. Now I'm going to conclude that they gave the wrong piece numbers again. No, I'm pretty convinced that's exactly what they did, because E8 and 9 look longer than 6 and 7. You're fucking kidding me. So this looks fun. It looks like we've got some remnant pieces in here clogging shit up. And I have no idea what this is. Is this flash in here making that hole not square? Probably. Swear to God, it's always something with these kits, isn't it? I know that these could be positioned at multiple different angles. So we'll have these open because it's easier. Okay, so we've got 2 things left on this sad bastard of a kit. The Pitot tubes and the canopy. We're gonna do the Pitot tubes first. So here is this one, which fits right in here. Kind of like so. Once again, these little tabs are the bane of this kit. Yeah, they try to be cute. And they just make things a giant fucking disaster. There is Pitot 1 down. Now Pitot 2 is a bit more interesting. So the first part of Pitot 2, I assume, ready-made for the inevitable master replacement, is essentially the probe housing fit like so. Doesn't quite seem to want to sit flush. But solvents do help eventually to weld that in. So, what do we do next? Well, we've got the Pitot tube halfway completed. And some awesome sprue gauge there to remove. Got that one, and we got that one, of course. Of course, I missed the giant sprue gate on the back of this thing. This is kind of a silly exercise though, because Pitot tubes this extravagant really should take advantage of things like Master and Mini World metal replacements. They just look a lot sharper, a lot cleaner, and you don't have to deal with this kind of bullshit. Alright, so that's one good enough for government work Pitot tube. And now we need to glue on the extra pieces. So we've got D12, and D112, and D111. Okay, now if you want to see another shoddy move, look at the sprue gates on these. Seriously? That's going to be interesting to remove. Alright, well that one sets up. As you can see, they just kind of glue on there. Not too bad for plastic, actually. I am going to go ahead and grab the other pieces that are needed. All right. Time to glue this Pitot tube in. And for this, I am going to use cyanoacrylate because I don't want to sit here and wait for this damn thing to cure. All right, last piece of this build is putting canopy up here. So for this, let's not do CA. This I'm also going to use magic of Tamiya extra thin. In theory, I am. All right, that looks pretty dang good. And I'm going to call this build wrapped up.